Do you know about your health? Do you know about your body? Do you know what to do and how to do it health-wise? Can you live a healthy life? Can we have healthy children? This is not a luxury, you've got to know health-wise. This is health-wise. This is health-wise. This is health-wise.
Weight management is a long-time approach to a healthy lifestyle. On today's show, we'll be discussing more on weight management. And I have here with me a nutritionist from the Lagos State Ministry of Health, Mrs. Adams. Thank you for coming, ma.
Thank you. It's nice to be on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And beside Mrs. Adams, I have Dr. Abiodun Abraham. She is the Chief Medical Consultant and Director of Flax Medical. Thank you so much for coming, ma.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's
Thank you
great
so
to be
much.
here.
Thank you very much, ma. And we're still here on HealthWise. Don't touch that bell. We'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back. Now, question for Dr. Abiodun. What does body mass index really mean?
That's BMI really, isn't
okay.
it?
Yeah.
And it is a very good measurement of body fat.
Okay.
Obviously, the higher the BMI, the higher the risk of having serious medical problems, because body fat is a very, when a person is high, when people start gaining weight,
Okay.
they do have risks of medical problems. Okay. So it is a way you measure fat. So it's a mathematical equation, which I'm going to speak about.
Okay.
I'm going to write it.
Okay.
But the real thing about BMI is that the bigger the BMI, the more the risks of cholesterol problems, heart problems, the more the risks of heart attacks, hypertension, diabetes, and things like that.
So let's talk
Yes.
about the standard of BMI in all categories of age.
Well, it's their numbers.
Okay.
And the calculation is weight over height times height. Would you like me to demonstrate it?
Let's do that. Now, please, a round of applause for Dr. Abiodun.
Now, let us imagine that you have a man or a woman who is 100 kilograms, because BMI, like I said, is weight over the height times the height. Imagine a man is 100 kilograms. So we're going to calculate it. So the man is 100 kilograms, and that is his weight. And then it is divided by the height. So assuming the person is 2 meters, it is going to be 2 times 2. So the BMI is 100 over 4, which means the BMI is 25. Now, let us assume, I'm going to give another picture. Let's assume the person is 200 kilograms. So 200 kilograms. And the same height. So which is 2 times 2. And so when I calculate it, it is 200 divided by 4, and the BMI is 50. Now, the normal BMI is 18.5 to 24.9.
Wow.
That is the normal BMI, 18.5 to 24.9. So I'm going to, so 18.5 to 24.9 is normal. Anything under 18.5 is underweight. So when you are 18.5 to 24.9, you are a normal BMI. Now, if you move onwards from 25 to 29.9, we are moving into what is called overweight. If you then move further, 30 to anything over 30, 30 plus, we are moving into the obese range. So actually, these are the measures of BMI.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. A round of applause for Dr. Abiodun. Thank you so much. Now, Mrs. Adams, what combination of food is recommended, not just for infants, adults, in all age brackets? What food would you recommend in order to maintain a proper weight management?
For proper weight management, you should be looking at adequate diet.
Okay.
And a diet is adequate when it contains all the food groups, and it also meets the recommended dietary allowance for individuals in relation to the age, height, sex, and your social life.
Okay.
So when you think of an adequate diet, you should be thinking of having all the food groups in your meal. And these groups are, you have the staples, which are grains, tubers, and roots. The second group is the protein, either dairy or lean protein. Then you have the fruits and vegetables, and also fats, sugars, and sweets generally. And when you look, allow the food guide pyramid to guide your meal, it has its portion size. Like for the staples, you are required to have 6 to 11 servings. Okay. A serving is 4 teaspoons. So for that category is 6 to 11 servings. Then when you go to fruits, it's 2 to 4 servings. Okay. Then vegetables, 3 to 5 servings. Then when you come to dairy, is 2 to 3 servings, and also lean protein is 2 to 3 servings. Then at the peak of the pyramid, you have sweets, sugar, fats, and oil. You are expected to eat it sparingly, in moderation. And also, when you think of adequate diet, you should be looking at unsaturated fats, plant salts, because this controls your weight. The more calories you have, but it differs with the age category. Like for the adolescents and teenagers, the expected kilocalorie intake is 3,000 for male. Okay. While it is 2,100 for female. The same thing applies from 23 years to 50 years. For male is 2,700 kilocalorie dietary intake, daily allowance, and for female is 2,000. And from 50 upwards, it is 2,400 for male and 1,800 kilocalorie for the female. And for the sedentary lifestyle people, the retirees, the elderly people, you are expected to have an intake of 1,500 kilocalories per day. So when you allow this guide to guide your meal intake, you are ensured of an adequate diet and a good weight management.
Good. Now let's talk about disadvantage of not being able to manage our weight, doctor.
In terms of the disadvantages, yes, there are many disadvantages. Okay. I think I touched on it a little bit earlier. Okay. Once weight is not managed, we are dealing with overweight or obesity. And when a person starts moving over the BMI of 30, what happens is that they have serious problems with regards blood pressure problems, heart problems, diabetes problems. And the shocking facts we're now hearing from studies is that even a lot of cancers are now due to overweight and obesity. To be frank, overweight and obesity has now become one of the greatest epidemics in the world. And it is really a great disadvantage to be overweight.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you so much. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Weight management is a long-term approach to a healthy lifestyle. It includes a balance of healthy eating and physical exercise to equate energy. Regular exercise and a healthy diet are crucial to when it comes to controlling your weight. A weight management plan depends on whether you are overweight or underweight. A registered dietitian or exercise physiologist can help you calculate your body fat. The recommended amount of body fat differs for men and women. For women, the recommended amount of body fat is 20 to 21%. A woman with more than 30% body fat is considered obese. For men, the recommended amount of body fat is 13 to 17%. A man with 25% body fat or higher is considered obese. Body mass index, or BMI, is an indirect measurement of your body composition. It takes into consideration both your weight and height. BMI helps determine your risk for certain diseases, including diabetes and hypertension. Weight management for people who have been overweight involves continued physical activity and monitoring the amount of food eaten. To successfully manage your weight, follow these basic guidelines. Eat a healthy, well-balanced diet. Balance physical activity with diet to maintain your desired weight. Aerobic exercise will help increase muscle tissue and burn calories. Gradually adjust your eating habits to encourage a permanent lifestyle change. You may need counseling and behavior modification to change your diet.
Welcome back. Now, Mrs. Adams, how does someone's gene affect weight?
Well, genetic inheritance is one of the factors that affects overweight or obesity.
Okay.
So in some cases, though very rare cases, it is inherited, it is in the family, the gene is already established. Okay. However, the hereditary aspect is the fact that that child will grow up in a family that has a particular lifestyle, eating lifestyle. So what will be given to that child is those meals that makes the parents to increase in weight. Okay. And this brings us to the fact that every parent should try as much as possible, like I said earlier on, to use the food guide pyramid. Especially for the growing ones, they need more carbohydrate energy because they're growing, and as well as ensure keeping away from fast foods, foods that contains unsaturated fats, because it makes the children grow fatter. And as said earlier on, obesity or overweight predisposes you to some nutritionally related diseases that are high risk to your life.
Now, as a medical doctor, I would like you to contribute to that question.
Yes, I mean, we are seeing a greater epidemic of certain conditions like diabetes. There's type 1 diabetes and there's type 2 diabetes. With type 1 diabetes, that is inherited. There's nothing one can do about it. But type 2 diabetes used to be a disease of adults. But now, we're now seeing children, juvenile type 2 diabetes. And all of that, practically all of it, is due to perhaps eating the wrong things, like eating high-fat content food, high-energy content food, and the increasing sedentary lifestyle. The fact that, you know, children now are playing indoors, sitting with their games, computer games, as opposed to football outside and activities. So I think it's the combination, really, of the sedentary lifestyle for children and adults, and also the fact that we are now eating more and higher, richer food, things that are higher in fat, that are contributing to diseases like diabetes. Even we're seeing younger people falling down dead with heart disease, heart attacks, strokes. These are very, very directly proportional to the body mass index that we were talking about. Anything that is over 30 predisposes to these diseases.
Thank you very much. Now let's talk about balanced diets.
For an adequate diet, as mentioned earlier on, for the, let's start from cradle.
Okay.
For an infant, 0 to 6 months, you should be looking at exclusive breastfeeding, because it contains all the required nutrients for growth and development, and also brain development. And it prevents diseases. And if a child is exclusively breastfed, later in life, it protects it from some certain forms of cancers, like breast cancers, ovarian cancers. When you come to the children, when they graduate from 6 months to complementary feeds, a lot of mothers miss it from there. Because they give foods that are very rich in carbohydrates but lacking in protein. So they should look at a way of fortifying the food to contain all the food nutrients for adequate growth and development. And that brings us to the teenagers. We should ensure that our teenagers have breakfast. They don't skip their meals. When you don't have your breakfast, it predisposes you to eating in between meals, eating junks, and most of the fast foods, pastries, they contain unsaturated fats, which increases your weight and predisposes them to these nutritional diseases that we're talking about. They should eat 3 times a day. They should have more activity. They should look into getting involved in certain clubs where they will be having exercises for the teenagers. That's very important. Less video games, less time in front of televisions. So these are things that we give them a healthy lifestyle. And for adults, you should be looking at having more fruits and vegetables, live foods, because for us, it's like our body is like an engine, wear and tear. As we grow older, we need these protective foods. So our foods should contain about 50% of fruits and vegetables, about 40% of to 60% of carbohydrates, 20 to 35% of protein, and 20 to 25% of fats. And if possible, if you see that you are having excess weight, because overweight has to do with the energy inputs lower than the energy output. So you should have a balance of energy inputs and energy outputs. So within this adult age, we should try to be as active as possible. That's why one of the factors of this overweight is urban sprawling. We do less walking. The work environment, we sit in front of the computer, we don't move around, we're seated. Then also the social lifestyle affluence will affect your eating habits and will further contribute to your overweight. Then for the elderly, they should be thinking of fiber-rich foods because they don't need much energy. They don't need much calories. And also osteoporosis and arthritis are setting. So they don't need a weight that will affect their bones. So they should be thinking of adjusting to daily kilocalorie of 1,500, having more fiber-rich foods, more vegetables, a lot of water, at least 6 to 8 glasses of water per day, and exercise.
No, thank you very much. That takes me to Dr. Abiodun. Medically speaking, what's the role of exercise in weight management?
I think exercise is absolutely vital for weight management. The first thing is moving on from what Mrs. Adams said. There's this equation about energy in and energy out. So really, exercise is the energy out. It is what you burn. Energy in is what you eat. So the equation is to lose weight and to maintain your weight, energy in must always be less than energy out. So what exercise does, number one, is to burn the calories. A calorie is a unit of energy. So what happens is that as you burn those calories, as you exercise and as you move around the place, no matter what exercise it is, you actually burn a lot of calories, a lot of fat and things like that. That's the first thing. Exercise helps to tone our bodies. So for instance, you are really beginning to lose a lot of weight and then you have sags here and there. Exercise just helps for the whole body to be toned. The great thing also about exercise is that there's these endorphins that are released. They are chemicals that make you feel good. And it's probably better than any other high, really, an endorphin high. And once you exercise, this are released and it makes you feel so good that you want to lose more weight. You know, you feel good about yourself, you have good self-image, you know, your self-esteem is boosted and you really want to exercise. Now, the other thing about exercise is that if you are going to maintain your weight, I think this is what we're talking about. We're not talking about losing weight for 2 weeks or 2 months because you want to go to a party or anything like that. But if you really want to exercise, you want to maintain your weight forever, exercise is possibly going to be the only thing that would help to maintain weight. Now, I need to put in a little word here about exercise. Exercise, you cannot rely only on exercise to lose weight or to maintain it. It has to be what we have heard, a balanced diet, just following the advice that Mrs. Adams gave, it has to be 80% of weight loss and also weight maintenance has to do with
The diet.
the diet. 20% is exercise. And exercise has other advantages I'm not going to talk about here, which it is actually vital to exercise only regularly. And so
Thank you
that's
very
really...
Hello and welcome to the precaution segment of HealthWise. Weight management. Developing healthy eating habits while using tips that will keep us fuller longer can be useful tools in weight management. Methods of weight management. Choose low-calorie foods. A moderate decrease in calorie intake will lead to a slow weight loss, which may be more beneficial for long-term weight management. Eating more dairy can also aid fat loss. Studies have shown that a diet high in dairy decreases total body fat. High amount of dairy calcium increases the amount of energy and fat excreted from the body. Incorporate more vegetables into your meals. Fruits and vegetables have been shown to increase satiety and decrease hunger. Fiber. Fiber has been suggested to aid weight management by inducing satiety, decreasing absorption of macronutrients, and promoting secretion of gut hormones. Resistant starch. Resistant starch is a type of non-digestible, fermentable fiber that is resistant to amylase digestion in the small intestine and is broken down to short-chain fatty acids by microflora in the large intestine. It is commonly found in cooked and cooled potatoes, green bananas, beans, and legumes. Hope you had a nice time. See you same time, same station next week for another interesting episode. Bye for now.
When teenagers skip meals, what does it cause?
While she was demonstrating how to calculate the BMI, she actually said that the formula was the weight over the height. And normally when we are trying to check our height, we use feet, not meters. So is there any way we can check our height without using meters? Because the conversion process might be very tricky in some cases.
Snacks have a lot of unsaturated fats. And the more meals you skip, the more snacks you will take.
If you make sure that you reduce your weight by 10%, just 10%, and you still have a high body mass index, you have halved your chances of diabetes, you have halved your blood sugar.